Hey there, friends. Dana here. I am kind of getting ready for my. I was watching this really cool podcast / documentary. Let me see if I can bring it down for everybody. Okay, cool. It looks like it's working. Let me see. Don't screw it up. Oh no. Okay, I am. I'm about to screw it up. I got to minimize. Okay, anyway, it's on Rumble, and the channel is called The Y Files. The little icon has a WF in a round red circle with a question mark. And this is called CIA Classified Book about the Pole Shift, Mass Extinctions, and the True Adam and Eve Story. So I wanted to jump on because I'm getting ready to run to the store here. I got to get out of here probably in about a half an hour or so. This is a half an hour long. I was just going to put it in and, or rather put it on and get ready. And if anybody wants to talk about it, we'll talk about it. If not, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Just decide to get ready for the day.
White hot liquid fire. In a fraction of a day, all vestiges of civilization are gone.
It has been confirmed by scientists to have occurred in the past. And there's some belief that we are actually due for that. There are major climate changes every 6 to 12,000 years, and we are like way overdue at 27,000 years. So we are really due for some type of major climate issue. If you've ever joined me before, you know that I talk about the year 2023, our current year, as being a number associated with the Skull and Bones secret society that all of our top military and political leaders in this country go through. It is a death cult. It is obsessed with death rituals. And so this is the year of death and destruction. Happy Wednesday. Sorry. Happy Wednesday. This is the way it's going to go. So the Adam and Eve story is something that talks about major climate shifts, including pole shifts, that have happened since the Earth was created or put here or whatever, exploded from nothing into everything, however you think that it happened. That these major weather catastrophes and pole shifts, the pole shifts facilitate the weather catastrophes which wipe out the civilizations. This is why we see evidence of things like monuments on Antarctica. There are old pictures that can be found that show gargoyles and things on Antarctica. We know that there were civilizations there. There are pyramids on Antarctica. So, they're talking about, okay.
Emerge with verdant tropical foliage.
Thomas is predicting a 90-degree shift to the Earth's axis, basically turning the planet on its side. The poles move to the equator, and the equator moves to the poles.
Now, this, of course, necessitates that you, this, of course, necessitates your belief in a heliocentric globe Earth model, which I know is a source of contention for many. I'm not necessarily into talking about that. I don't know enough, but the idea of major climate catastrophes coming, that does not surprise me.
In the first chapter of his book, Dr. Thomas paints a terrifying future. But how likely
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Thomas goes on to not only prove his pole shift is possible, that it's happened before and will happen again very soon. In fact, there are some.
I'm talking about the Adam and Eve story and what I believe is coming, like the upcoming pole shifts, and that's basically what's responsible for like climate change. Like it's not cow farts and me driving my car into town to pick up groceries. Like that's not what's causing these major weather catastrophes. It's an incoming pole shift. It's a magnetic, electromagnetic pole shift that's going to turn the world upside down. According to this Adam and Eve story that's been heavily redacted by the CIA, but is available as a PDF. I think it's around like 57 pages or so. There are about 200 pages that the CIA has actually taken out of the story, which is how you know it probably is revealing a deep truth that they don't want us to. That they don't want us to know.
Thomas said the last great flood wasn't 11,500 years ago, but 6,500 years ago. Now, in the 1960s, there was very little, if any, proof of this. But a few years ago, archaeologists found evidence.
Moist glitchy for you? Oh, sorry. I think it's because my internet out there sucks. We're still on, like, it's barely a step above dial-up, and I think maybe because I have too many things going at once. I'll turn this down a bit. Oh, I'm sorry, Glitchy. Be back if you can. I understand if you can't, though. That sucks. I wonder if you were to join me here, Michelle, if it would do that. Like, if you were to send me an invite to jump on, I wonder if it would clear up or just make things worse. But I'm just getting ready for the day. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not even doing like good makeup. I'm just throwing a coat of paint on the old barn. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 42 soon next month. 42, 3 kids. More autoimmune diseases than I care to count or acknowledge, lest I fall into a depressive hole. 4 dogs, you know, just saying. Walk around looking like a goddamn demon, man. She was creepy looking. Now, I don't watch the Grammys. I never would because I have a life and a family. And I am not taken in by the black magic of the TV and celebrities, the stars, and their fucking outfits and shit. But I do enjoy the highlights that I catch on social media. I haven't had a TV, like a regular cable TV, in a very, very, very long time. First was out of necessity because we was broke. But we really got used to not having it and haven't had cable in a while. So what we have now is like barely a step above dial-up internet. And I think that's why it's coming through glitchy for some people, because I'm using 3 different devices, and that's probably more than this shitty internet can handle. We are in the middle of nowhere. We are planning to literally survive and live out this what I believe is an incoming weather catastrophe that's going to change the landscape of the world. I don't think it's something we can necessarily avoid or think our way out of, or, you know, I don't think there's a way of avoiding certain types of natural disasters that are the earth resetting itself, whether it be, you know, whatever you think that is. Is it a battle between good and evil? Rise and shine. Grand rising, sunshine. Grand rising to you. We're talking about the Adam and Eve story. And just for frame of reference, this is really cool. This is a really well-researched little podcast here by the Y-Files. I'll just show it again. CIA classified book about pole shifts. This is what I'm watching right now. And he's really got a ton of great information. I mean, it's really well-researched. There's also another guy that I followed, Donut. DOENUT is how it's spelled. And it might be Donut Music Factory or something, because he's also, I think, like a hip hop artist and editor and whatnot. Anyway, he does a great breakdown of this Adam and Eve story as well, but it started as like a 200 of the earth and the true story of the origins of man, and also what it is that we should expect to happen, because these natural man-made, or I'm sorry, these natural pole shifts do happen from time to time. In the book, it suggests that we are actually the 6th. Antarctica used to be green, why there are monuments and pillars and evidence of pyramids in places like Antarctica, the how and the why. So this kind of ties into all that. So I'm just watching that while I get ready. I'm not doing anything that too, but I'm just trying to do this so that I stay focused. Because I'll tell you what, my brain is like a damn runaway train. Like, I don't know what topic's gonna throw me off next. From being a mom of 3 and starting a business and getting sick, and oh my word, my brain's just fried.
So there are 2 options. One, whoever built the statue.
This is cool. They're talking about Easter Island.
A 30-foot tall, 80-ton statue up to their necks and filled in the holes. Or 2, the statues were completely above ground.
Again, this is from the Y-Files.
By something. And look at Easter
Y-Files.
Island. It's a tiny island.
I stepped on it. If you see the crack, that's from me. Because why wouldn't my children put a very nice iPad right at the bottom of the bunk bed steps? Why wouldn't you keep your iPad there? These kids, I swear to God. And then, like, to get this thing replaced, like the glass replaced on an iPad, is shockingly expensive. Damn near almost $100. Oh, that pissed me off. So anyway, I just watch it crack now because I don't have time for any of that. Really.
There are similarities between Greek, Egyptian and even Indian gods, as if all these cultures intermingled or came from a single
Well,
source.
don't start getting the religious talk now. I start getting people all upset.
But the big questions are how.
So many people associate the Adam and Eve, this concept of an Adam and Eve story. I think it's just the way it's just been translated through the years, but essentially to reference the beginning of time, not necessarily that that we have to go to the Bible in order to get the Adam and Eve story. Just that Adam and Eve it's like Hansel and Gretel. It's like just a way of framing the story. Not that this is really hasn't touched the Bible actually much at all. So I don't know if that's important to you, but I figured I'd pass it along.
60 miles down, extending 60 miles deeper to 120 miles below the surface of the Earth. The thick, deep molten layer starting 1,800 miles down at the bottom of the mantle.
A little bit of concealer, cover up the bags. You know what I mean, you guys?
Seismology has proven these two orange layers to be molten, and they are white hot, over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
But Dr. Thomas was able to predict seismic activity all over the world.
Inside the Earth, the electrical and magnetic structure of the interior makes the layers.
So why do you guys think there could be pyramids in Antarctica? I am curious. Like, I wish I could I tried to talk to my husband about this, and I will tell you what, he's not a good person to have a debate with. Like, he just gets himself a little too worked up. And when I try to talk to him about things like Antarctica and how I think that ties into the shape of the realm that we occupy, he gets very defensive to the point of being like petulant. And I can't deal with it. It makes me feel like I'm like arguing with my little brother, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I have one brother that's a year younger than me, and like he's a very interesting character. And then I have a brother who lives closer to me down here. The reason we moved is because Philadelphia fell apart really quickly. And it just got heightened by the My Sharona Cyrus. Things just got worse really quickly. The news did not cover the amount of destruction and stuff that was happening there. But anyway, we came to visit my brother out here in Kentucky, and God, it's beautiful here. Like, I still wake up every day and am almost in shock by how beautiful the landscape is. Every sunset, every sunrise is absolutely gorgeous, and everywhere I look, it's, in terms of like location, where we're living now is an ideal location to ride out most natural disasters, which is something that I did look into. I looked into that, and you just hope for the best, because you certainly can't predict where and when these things are going to happen with that level of accuracy. I don't think, certainly not from a book that's been rewritten by and redacted by the CIA, right? Definitely on a watch list now, I guess. So anyway, okay, so we're going to move into get my eyes done and getting the hell out of here, you guys. I got to get to the store. I'm going to have to download a podcast on my phone to listen to. I'm expensive. Keep going. But I download stuff on my phone. I take it with me. I don't think this is available, though, on the podcast. I'll have to check. It should be. Guy has a great voice. It's called The Y Files. I'm watching it on Rumble. I don't know if it's available on YouTube, but I don't trust them MFs. Pardon me saying so, but there's just no reason to trust them. Censor everything, and they just make it impossible to have any kind of diversity of thought. The only kind of diversity the places like YouTube care about is the kind of diversity that sticks with the mainstream narrative, and don't divert from that, because that's not the kind of diversity they're looking for. They're looking for uniformity of thought and dependence. Weight and skin color and religion and ethnicity. They keep us divided, infighting with one another. So that, which I'm going to presume most of you do. We're getting sprayed like hell out here. So we've been sprayed the last 2 days, and now it's going to rain for 2 days. Like, I'm shocked. We're at the point where my kids can predict the weather based on the spraying. They know when the rain will come. We don't watch the news anymore, yet somehow I always know what the weather is. I ask them to check it. There you go.
There were copies in circulation. He also published follow-ups in 1971 and 1993, and neither is classified. As for the content of the book itself, Thomas doesn't provide any solid evidence. He makes a lot of deductions from old texts, some of which are pretty big leaps. And it seems like he's borrowing ideas from other catastrophists like Hapgood, Immanuel Velikovsky, and a few others. But he's cherry-picking his favorite parts without giving specifics. For example, his theory about the ice caps knocking the Earth off axis, well, that comes from Hapgood's first book. But after working with scientists, including Albert Einstein, Hapgood issued a follow-up book that explains how he got that wrong. But Dr. Thomas, he sticks with the story. And the liquid crust bit he talks about, he says the Earth's magnetism and electricity become disrupted. He offers no evidence or even an explanation of how it happens, just that it does. Now, there are ice core samples from the eastern part of Antarctica that show it's been covered in ice for at least 1.5 million years. Now, granted, the western
so back to Rex talking about Antarctica.
Because it may not have always been covered in ice. But either way, we know for certain it's been down there for a long time. When Chan Thomas released an expanded version of the book in 1993, he didn't make any corrections or provide any new evidence, but he did have chapters on ESP, on UFOs, and on angels. It doesn't read as scientific at all. In fact, it's a hot mess. He jumps all over the place without a cohesive narrative. It feels like he gathered a bunch of ideas he had over the years and then threw them into one final book. So, 2 questions. Was Dr. Chan Thomas a serious researcher? No. But is there evidence to support some of his claims?
Yes.
There is.
I don't know. I think there's going to be a big weather incoming soon.
Be
a big weather. That's pretty much right. I think there's going to be a large natural weather disaster coming soon.
We know that global floods have happened. The evidence is everywhere. But these floods, specifically from the Younger Dryas, were not from the oceans. They were from the rapid melting of glaciers. Still, they were destructive. They really did create tsunamis 1,000 feet high, and they really raised the sea level hundreds of feet. He says the temperature drops so much and so quickly that everything is instantly frozen solid. He talks about woolly mammoths being frozen with buttercups in their mouths. Now, this is true. Mammoths have been discovered that were frozen in the middle of eating. Now, it takes a long time to freeze a steak, but the flash freeze of mammoth, those conditions would have to be extreme. According to Thomas, seismic activity is one of the reasons the Earth's axis shifts. This is also true. NASA found that the big Indonesian earthquake in 2004 shifted the North Pole about 25 centimeters east, and the Earth's rotation sped up, which decreased.
So earthquakes can facilitate a pole shift.
An earthquake in Chile did
or indicate a pole shift? Is that what are you getting what I'm getting? That's what I got.
In Japan the following year, it happened again.
Is this a concern?
So we just had 2 big earthquakes in Turkey this week. And it's curious that I happened across this story of
Now, the shifting magnetic poles, that is a concern.
poles and how that relates to earthquakes.
Flip-flop. North becomes south and vice versa. And geologically speaking, it happens a lot. It's happened hundreds of times. On average, the time between shifts is about 300,000 years. But we haven't shifted in almost 800,000 years.
Okay.
We're way overdue.
But how do we know if
All right, so he said there's usually a shift every 300,000 years, but it's been about 800,000 years since we've had on these magnetic pole shifts. That's the premise that he's working from right now.
In the early 1990s, the North Pole was drifting about 9 miles per year. But that's been steadily increasing. In fact, GPS is updated periodically to account for this. But GPS was being updated every 5 years, then every year, and now every 6 months. The pole is now drifting at almost 40 miles per year. And the Earth's magnetic field is weakening quickly. These are signs that a shift could be coming. So what then? Is that the end of the world? Well, life will go on. Animals that navigate using geomagnetism will be confused, but in a generation or 2, they'll figure it out. Animals that don't use magnetism probably won't notice a difference. The geologic record shows no major die-offs during pole shifts, and our species has lived through a few shifts the past 3 million years. And
will humans make it through the next pole shift? What do you think?
But our ancestors didn't have satellites or
Any
GPS
chance?
or planes. A lot of our
I think we as a
technology is gonna go anywhere.
civilization barely know how to take care of ourselves now with all the technology available that like the large majority of the population would probably perish over the course of the next 5 years without electricity, medical care, medicines, you know. We're just, especially here, we're like so dependent on pharmaceuticals.
These are bad. Without our magnetic field to protect us, satellites will get fried
Yeah,
if
I
they're
like
not hardened.
this.
Rates of cancer will increase dramatically. And if you think climate change is a problem now,
Climate change is not a problem now.
yeah, it is.
Don't be a sheep.
The climate will be very
I'm not endorsing any of
But the
this. I'm
biggest
just
danger is
watching
our
it.
power grids. High enough solar activity could knock out all electricity on Earth for days or weeks, maybe months in some places.
Got a
To say
shellac
there
the old
would be
face.
civil unrest is a huge understatement. When Chan Thomas released his book, The Adam and Eve Story, it was dismissed as pseudoscience. But in the 50 or so years since it was published, a lot of his claims can be proven. It would seem that in some cases, the difference between pseudoscience and real science is just time. And if just a fraction of Dr. Thomas's predictions come true, our time is
Excuse
running out.
me. Well, I try to blend this
Thank you so
in.
much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ. That's Hecklefish. This has been Y-Files. If you had fun or learned anything, do us a favor, subscribe,
Go
share.
check them out, the Wi-Fi's. I'm going to check out some of their other stuff.
But that stuff really
It was pretty cool.
And like most topics we
He did a
cover
good
on
job
this channel,
covering it.
today's topic was recommended
Covered all
by
the
you.
important
So
stuff.
if there's a story
Hopefully we all learned something. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go food shopping. Yay.
Without you patrons, I'd still be waiting
Blessed to
tables
have
at the
food. I know
Biker
that.
Bar in Queens. Don't ask.
If you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a member on Patreon. Or grab something from the
that the
Wi-Fi
arrest
store.
of this Iranian
Your
national
support keeps this
happened
crazy
last
train going.
week. And now we go with the Texas DPS traffic stop, which we have video of. Take a look at this dash cam video showing a Texas trooper pulling over a human smuggler on the Texas highway near Del Rio last Monday. They get into the car. They find 5 illegal immigrants being smuggled inside. The driver was an American from Houston. Several of the men were being smuggled hidden in the back of the trunk. You'll notice one guy has a red hoodie on. He ended up being the Iranian national who was being smuggled in the back of that trunk. And we've got a closer look at him. Take a look at these images. This is 29-year-old Ali Reza Haidari. He's an Iranian national, and according to his Iranian passport, he was born in Tehran. I'm told Border Patrol then arrived and did their standard background checks with federal databases running all the names, and at that point, multiple law enforcement sources tell me Haidari's name and date of birth flagged as a match on the FBI's terror watch list. I'm told federal law enforcement then got involved, ran more checks, and confirmed that his name...
We're back, y'all. And no, it wasn't in timeout that I know of.